This is Tricktionary, Volume 1. My name is Aaron Chase.
And I'm Jeff Lanoski. Aaron and I spend a lot of time traveling all over the world and riding, and everybody's always asking us, how did we learn the tricks that we do? So we got together with DH Productions to put together this DVD to show you guys the basics.
Yeah, we're out here to kind of give you like the fundamentals, help you build your foundation, and show you how to have more fun and progress on your bike.
And we're also going to dig through the DH Productions video archive, and we're going to show you what's possible with these moves once you get them dialed.
Before every ride, always remember to put your helmet on.
That's mandatory. You might also want to think about a pair of gloves. They're going to give you a better grip on the bars, and they're going to save your hands if you go down in a crash. I like to wear knee pads too. I like these soft knee gaskets. They fit right under my jeans. They give me a little bit of protection if I go down. They work great for me, but if you spend as much time on your knees as AC, you might want to go with something more durable.
Whatever. If you ever did want to go big, you could wear these knee and shin pads, follow them up with some elbow pads. Either way, you gotta always ride with your helmet on.
Most bike manufacturers are offering urban-specific Freeride bikes nowadays. They have some similarities to a regular mountain bike, but there's a lot of things that make them different. Most bikes have suspension forks nowadays. On our bikes, you're going to notice that the travel usually ranges between 80 and 100 millimeters. We're usually riding in urban environments, manicured dirt jumps. There's no need for 6-7 inches of travel on our bikes.
That's right, and the same goes with the tires. These are high-pressured slick tires. They got enough knobs to do the job. They keep you rolling fast.
All right, now if you're going to want to start to get into some advanced tricks, your brake cables are going to need to get out of the way. So what you're going to do is you make your rear shifter and your rear brake cable a little bit longer. It's going to allow you to spin the handlebars on bar spins and cross-ups, and you're going to route your front brake cable through the stem cap. That's going to allow that to not get tangled also.
Yeah, that'll definitely work. Another thing you want is a jump seat. This is going to be a little bit wider, give you some pinches, and especially when you screw up, it's going to save your butt.
All right, now when you're pedaling at this stuff, you definitely don't want your chain falling off. And when you're doing moves like sprocket stalls, you're not going to want to ding up your chain ring. So all these bikes are going to have some kind of chain retention device and a bash ring. It's going to keep your chain on, protect your gears.
The same goes with everything else. It's all about the hardtail. This bike has no rear suspension. It's all about being light, snappy, popping, and you have the most fun on these bikes.
One of the most basic tricks you're going to learn is a wheelie. A wheelie is going to give you a solid foundation for a lot of these other tricks. It's going to teach you to balance on one wheel, it's going to teach you to ride with your front end in the air, and it's going to help you impress your friends. Now before you get started, you have to learn how to do a wheelie. What you're going to need to do is lean back and pedal to get your front end up. And if you start to loop out backwards, you're going to need to squeeze your back brake. That's going to bring your front end down. So it's a lot of trial and error. It's basically pedaling and leaning back to get your front end up, squeezing your back brake to bring the front end down, and just practice to find the sweet spot so you can ride down the trail or the road, whatever, and keep that wheel balanced. I like to put my bike in a slightly easier gear when I do wheelies. It helps me keep the front end off the ground. First thing you're going to want to do is learn how steep you can get your bike when you do a wheelie. So ride along at a slow pace, pedal, and sit back real far. Now you're going to loop out, just put your feet back like I just did, and that's going to give you a feeling of how steep you can get the bike before you start to loop back. All right, now that you've looped out a few times backwards and put your feet down, you're going to want to practice using your back brake to bring your front end down so that you don't go too far back. So do the same thing, roll along at a medium pace, lean back, ride that wheelie, but when you start to loop back, really grab that back brake. That's going to bring your front end down to the ground. It's going to keep you from looping out. Okay, so you've looped out a few times, you've brought your front end down a few times, you have a good idea of what your limits are, how far you can go back, what it takes to get the front end down. Now you're going to want to put both things together. All right, so roll along at a walking pace, you're going to pedal the whole time, and then you're going to shift your weight back, keep pedaling. That's going to get your front end up. Now I like to look in front of my front wheel on the ground. That just helps me balance side to side. And once you feel you've wheelied far enough, just set her down to earth.
Now that you get your wheelies done, let's do a manual. Manual is wheeling without pedaling. You want to get up to speed, pull that front end up, stay low, use your brakes and your hips a little bit to pivot around. Staying low, looking ahead. I don't know, sometimes you can manual all day, other days you just can't. But it's a great way to link together tricks, for sure.
All right, so if you're doing a lot of urban riding, eventually something's gonna get in your way. You're gonna need to bunny hop over it. I'm here to show you how to do it. Now with these bikes, you're never clipped in, so you're gonna need to learn how to get your bike off the ground. So you do that by using your handlebars. Your feet just kind of go along for the ride. So it's similar to an ollie on a skateboard where you need to get the front end up off the ground and then you need to push it away from you. So you're using that same pull that you had learned earlier in the manual to get your front end up, but then you're pushing the bike away from you. It's all shoulders, it's all back, it's all upper body to get that back end off the ground. Your feet are just going along for the ride. Okay, so now you're gonna roll along at a speed like you would use for the wheelie. You're gonna pull up on the handlebars, push them away, and that's gonna help you get both wheels off the ground at the same time. Okay, so once you feel comfortable with your bunny hopping skills on flat ground, you're gonna wanna practice going over things and onto things. Going onto something's a lot easier for practicing. So as a general rule of thumb, when I'm bunny hopping on something, I like to take off about as far away from the obstacle as the obstacle is high. So this wall here is about 2 feet tall. I'm going to be looking around 2 feet away from it when I roll at it as a spot to start lifting up on the handlebars and leveling out that bike to get up it. Now as the wall gets a little bit higher, you're going to want to go a little bit faster. And again, remember to take off as far away from the wall as the wall is high.
All right, let's put a little twist into that bunny hop. How about a 180? I think what you should do is just fall into grass. It's no big deal. When you're rolling up to a 180, keep everything square, throw a little arc into it, stay low, because you want to crack like a big enough hop to get your whole bike around. All at once, you turn, hop, pop off your back wheel, throw your shoulders, toss your head, shift your hips so that you can get that back wheel around. Your bars aren't always going to be, it's not going to happen like this. It's going to happen more like this, where you turn, and then you just want to force that back wheel around, land backwards, pull it. Let me go show you. All right, let's see that 180 in motion. Come up to it at a nice pace, crouch down, get ready to crack it. Turn, pop and twist, that's a 180. Let's try another take. Oh, sometimes when that happens, your weight's a little too far back and you're touching your brake. Sometimes that happens if you're like a little nervous or whatever. Well, you probably got the riding forwards thing figured out pretty good, so let's try to ride backwards. The best way to kind of start doing this is just walking your bike backwards. That way you can kind of feel the mechanics of what the bike does when you're going backwards. Your steering's backwards, you're going backwards, and you're not really watching where you're going, so keep that in mind too. I would just kind of hike back and forth across the parking lot, getting it figured out, putting your feet on, or you could just kind of leave them out, kind of as like little tripods or whatever. That way you don't totally lose your balance. And just keep with it. Speed's your friend, and that's gonna help you out too. All right, let's step it up a little bit. Now you get your rollbacks, you gotta get out of it and do a half cab. What we're gonna do here, I've set up this bank out of a picnic table to kind of demonstrate. You can do it on a wall ride or just 180 into it, but here you go. Roll into it at a nice medium pace, come up and jack your brakes. This is gonna stop your forward momentum and send it going backwards. Once you're going backwards, lay into a slight carve, keep your weight low, pivot at your waist, crack a little bunny hop, finish spinning around the rest of the way, and you got your half cab. Jack your brakes, coming backwards. Turn, and bunny hop. And that's a half cab.
.360 bunny hops. You're going to want to have the bunny hop and the 180 bunny hop dialed before you try this move. It's basically taking that 180 and going an extra 180 degrees. It's a little bit harder than it sounds though. So what you're going to do, roll along at about the same pace you would the 180. You're going to want to lead with your head and follow with your hips. While you're doing that, you're going to want to steer into the direction you're going to go a little bit just before you bunny hop. You want to roll along at a medium pace. You want to think about turning into the direction of your spin. Once you do that, you want to lead with your head, follow with your hips. Keep your front end a little bit higher than you would for the 180 in case you don't get the full 360. It'll keep you spinning around so you can ride out of it.
So what do you know about grinds? What I know about grinds is this. You need a nice, smooth, hard surface, which this is not. This is rock. It's going to tear your bike up, and it's going to tear the ledge up. What you want to do is ride like a skate park ledge, coping, marble, even plastic or metal. So you want to find a nice ledge that's going to slide and it's going to be wide enough for it. If the ledge is too narrow, when you hop on it, your rear derailleur might hit or your disc, depending on which side you do it. And the ledge can never be too wide. But what's nice is if your wheel is about a foot away from the ledge. That way your bike's crooked enough, your derailleur clears, and everything's all good. Now that you're on the ledge sliding, your bike's crooked, but you're sliding straight. Here's another thing to look out for. Back pedal, just as you land on the ledge, back pedal your rear pedal down onto the ledge. This is gonna keep from your chain guide getting screwed up, your chain stays, and it's gonna keep your derailleur out of the way. The way that you're your pedal's only gonna stay there if you're holding this rear brake right here. If you don't hold it, you'll land on the ledge and it'll just slip right off. If you got it, you land on the ledge and you have a great grinding surface to slide on. This trick's gonna be a little bit abusive on you and your bike. So kind of pick and choose what stuff you slide and what stuff you let slide.
A Bubica. It's a funny name, but it's a really fun trick. It's basically a back tire stall on an obstacle that you usually get to from bunny hopping. So you can do this on something as low as a curb or as high as you can bunny hop. You're gonna wanna go at it at a pretty good speed. You're gonna spot your obstacle, bunny hop, land with that front tire pretty high, back tire centered on the obstacle, hand on the back brake really hard, and you're gonna wanna compress your body weight towards the seat. This is gonna give you the spring you need to get back off the obstacle. So once you absorb that energy, now it's time to pull back on the handlebars, extend those legs, push off the obstacle. You're gonna land backwards. At this point, you could either get your balance and pedal forward, or the cooler way would be to pull that half cab and ride away. Okay, so roll at the obstacle, spot where you wanna land that back tire, land, squeeze the brake, pull off it, half cab out, ride away. The most critical part of the Bubica comes right after you touch your back tire to the rail. You're going to want to compress completely into the bike and dip your front tire down. And then once you've fully compressed, you want to start pulling back on the handlebars and extending your legs. That's what's going to give you the momentum to yank back off of the rail and clear your front tire so that it doesn't hit the obstacle you just stalled on. One of the best obstacles to learn a Bubica on are picnic tables. You have a built-in backstop, so if you go for it on the bench and you loop out, you're going to hit the tabletop, so it gives you a nice safe place to practice. So once you dial them in on the bench, you could even try to do them on the tabletop, and that's pretty high Bubica. It'll get you real comfortable with going super high, and then you can take them to all different kinds of obstacles.
All right, sprocket stall. Find a ledge, bring your sprocket, stall it. Here's how we go, let's break it down. Come in at a nice slow pace, bunny hop on nice and gently. When you land on your sprocket, try to also land maybe on your foot, your back foot, or by bringing your cranks down a little bit lower, you can land on your front foot. This is also going to give you like a bigger footprint. You're going to be a little bit more stable. It's going to be easier for you to stay on it and pop off. If you stall on your back foot, you could also do it a little bit crooked too, and 180 out. That way you're never going to clip your front wheel on the way out. All right, when you're looking for stuff to sprocket stall, look for something more along like wood. We got rock right here for now, which will totally work, but wood's going to be a lot less abusive on your bike. For this particular sprocket stall, when you stall, your front tire is going to still be touching the ledge. That way you're not going to fall over, but you're also not going to get super springy to jump back. By sprocket stalling on the back of a park bench, you're going to have a little bit more leverage and more pop by lowering your front wheel, and that's going to give you some more snap to jump back.
The bar spin is one of my favorite tricks. It's a really cool move because you can learn it on flat ground and it's pretty easy, but as you get better and as your skills progress, you can throw it in the middle of some pretty big moves. All right, now remember, you're going to want to put your front brake cable through the stem cap or take it off completely, and then your rear brake and your rear derailleur cables are going to need to be a little bit longer or hooked up to a gyro so you can spin your bars 360 degrees. The first technique you want to practice before you go throwing a bar spin in the middle of a bunny hop is getting used to the catch and the release. The easiest way to do that is to find a curb, set your back tire against it, plant your butt on the seat. Now it's going to give you a chance to hold the bike up using your butt and your feet on the ground. You're going to want to figure out which is going to be your most comfortable way to throw the bars. Some people it's clockwise, some people it's counterclockwise. Either way, you're definitely going to have one way that feels a little bit better. So once you figure that out, you're just going to want to sit here and just get real used to throwing the bars and catching them. A lot of times you're going to pass all the way past halfway point on the bike with your throwing hand, and that's going to allow you to get this big heavy mountain bike wheel around. Okay, so once you've learned to throw and the catch, you're going to want to learn how to get in the right position to actually do it on the bike. So you're going to practice little manual wheelies and pinch the seat with your knees. Once you do that, the next step is try to do little no-handers. If you can do that, you're definitely going to have time to throw the bars. So just get a little trust that you're going to catch them and throw them around.
All right, let's go with a crank flip. This one I've been doing for a long time. It's going to be pretty confusing at first, but you'll figure it out. You're doing a full revolution of your cranks without being on them. The key to it is backpedaling with your back foot to get your cranks more of an up and down position, and then you can kick straight back with your front foot, and that's going to crack the rotation of the cranks around. So again, not riding it totally flat, it's not going to work. Bringing it to this angle like a 2 o'clock, 7 o'clock position with your back foot. Just as you do that, your foot kind of slides off the pedal and kicks straight back, and then you catch. So the best way to do it without busting your shins right off the bat is lean forward on your handlebars, keep your feet on the ground, and just do the trick a bunch of times. That's the best way to practice. Now you got to do the bunny hop into the grass. Here it goes. Hello and welcome to Tricktionary Volume 1. This is Aaron Chase.
And I'm Jeff Lanoski. In this first volume, we're going to show you some real basic moves that you can... what was I going to say? We put together this DVD and Don's like, oh, I put together the DVD.
He's like this.